everybody's story is the same in terms of the struggle.
The struggle. We're trying to get
and there's no getting around it.
Yeah.
You're gonna pay a price.
You're gonna pay a price somehow.
If you're unwilling to pay that price, then don't even bother getting into it.
Exactly.
It costs you.
It's gonna cost you something.
What it costs.
Yeah.
I heard that from TD Jakes. He was talking about something, but that line stuck with me.
It costs what it costs.
It costs what it costs. There is no negotiating. There's no shortcuts.
Yeah.
It's gonna cost you something.
Yeah.
And if you're not willing to pay that price, then don't even bother.
Yeah.
Ooh. And so. Y'all ready?
We're ready.
Yeah, big time right here on the D&D Leveling Up Podcast. That's right, y'all, man. We back again.
Let's go.
Understand. Special guest in the place to be, Dirk.
TTMT, the talented Mr. Taylor, and we got
King D Money right here on the D&D Level Up Podcast. Make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe right now. Hit the subscribe right now. Go ahead. Comment right now. You don't even know what we're talking about. Comment right now. Right now. All right? But we're going to get into it, man. I know y'all see it's not just D&D today.
Yep.
All right.
Special guest.
Special guest. Dirk, why don't you introduce our special guest?
I want to introduce you to a special guest. This gentleman is a blueprint for many things that I've actually done in life in terms of business, personal and professional, as a leader, as a business leader, and as also one of my good and special friends for a long time, one of my alumni brothers, and his name is Daniel Veasy. And so I want him to introduce himself and basically what he does, and then we're going to ask him a couple of different questions to give you guys basically some enlightenment about what he does, how he got to the place that he's been, and as well as what he's actually doing now, currently.
Okay, well, I can tell you right now.
Take it in.
The main thing I'm thinking about is looking as cool as you guys. Like,
oh, man. Get out of here, man.
This nice intro and stuff, and I'm like, okay.
Man, you obviously in the game, man. DD, just in case I'm getting a little cheesy, it's DD&D.
It's DD&D.
On the D&D Level Up Podcast this morning.
Yeah, so
okay. Daniel Veasy. Number one, I'm excited to be here. This is my very first podcast that I've ever been on. So thank you
glad to have you
for inviting me. So what do you want to know? Where do I get started?
So what we want to do is basically most of the audiences here are the purpose for our actual podcast is to help people level up. We're bridging the gap between personal and professional and self-development.
Okay.
So we're trying to get people to a point where they understand what they're doing in their personal life, get awareness of what they're doing in their personal life, as well as their professional life. And so we're lifestyle scaling specialists. We help them scale in their lifestyle to get to a certain point. Usually people, when we're thinking about encouraging or helping people get from point A to point B, they don't know where to start.
Yeah.
So you've been in business for quite some time. And so give us basically the understanding of things that create the core values that you have, as well as that created the situation or the mindset to get you to the place where you're at, and kind of give us a little bit of background on how you got started.
Okay. Well, oddly enough, believe it or not, I never even wanted to get into business.
Wow.
I can actually say that. I used to want to be like a professional singer. When you're young, you want to do a whole lot of stuff, but I never wanted to be an entrepreneur. And my mother, that's something that she always was into. She used to try to encourage my brother and myself to, get into entrepreneurship and business, but I would never want to do it. And it was just funny how it ended up happening. I think like most entrepreneurs, you try some things at the beginning. Sometimes you no longer do it. So I think the very first thing that you were familiar with was
the Urban League.
Yeah. No, it was
even before that was recordings.
Yeah. Well, yeah. True.
That was recordings.
True that.
And tell me about the recordings.
Yeah, with the music background. Yeah, it's crazy. So I was actually at the hospital visiting a friend. What was that? Yesterday, 2 days ago, something like that. And we were talking. My wife and I. We were talking about our marriage. We've been married 18 years.
Congrats.
And so. I know, right?
That's like your miracle.
18 years.
18 years.
Look, I'm 7 in, and I'm like,
7 years.
like, we just,
I know, right?
7 year itch.
But so she and I we're in business together. So I'm the owner of
That's what I'm talking about.
business group.
Yeah.
I own it with my wife.
Mm-hmm.
And but we were talking about early years of marriage and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
And when I ended up leaving the school board, which was in the 05-06 fiscal school year.
Okay.
And she was like, it was that long ago? I said, yeah, because that's around the time that I started Seek full time.
Mm-hmm.
And I had also left to write a book. She said, you were writing a book at the time. I was like, yeah, that's right. I did write a book.
Yeah.
I wrote a whole book. I forgot about that.
Tell us what the book is.
I got a whole book.
Where's your whole book at? Is it on Amazon?
I need that book right now.
I don't know where those books are. It might be. Look here.
We need to get that book.
But when you start taking inventory, though, of the things that you've done in the past that leads you up to the point that you're at, it's funny sometimes how sometimes you manage. You're still staying on the same path, but in the moment you don't realize where these things are leading you. Where they're going to lead you to, and even how they're going to impact what you end up doing. So even you guys, what you're doing right now, and me being here, because we cannot predict the future. Granted, every businessman, everybody has a future that they envision. It's the how you get there that doesn't always play out.
Exactly.
So it's just funny sometimes, and even the relationships that you form over the years, the bonds. Some of them you stay with for the rest of your life, and others fade that you thought would be there forever. And it's a trip. But anyhow, going back to the question about starting business and so forth. So 05 was the first time that I actually started or did something that was under the umbrella of entrepreneurship or business.
Okay.
I wrote a grant with the help of a woman by the name of Paulette Green. I ended up writing a grant for the Children's Services Council. And that was my very first time ever doing something like that. I've never done that before. And so the whole reason why we wrote it was because I was teaching at the time at a school called Walker Elementary. It was a performing arts elementary school. Okay. And we were we were fortunate enough to have a studio in the school.
Oh,
the actual recording studio, and we would stay late. Me and some of the other teachers there, just kind of working on things, and we would always have students staying there well after school. I mean, school is out, and they're still hanging around
the studio.
They're hanging around in the classroom, in the studio, and the numbers just kept building and building and building. And so I'm like, I identified, I'm like, there's a need here. And so the thought came to me to start a program that was called SEED, Student Education Through Arts Training. So I always had a passion and a love for the arts. And I also had a passion for education as well. Even though I did not want to be a career teacher.
And we actually have that in common. We're all been musicians as well as teachers.
I never wanted to be a career teacher. I have taught in the classroom.
You're a smart man.
You're a smart man.
But one day I will be.
I love education though. So that has never left me. And so we would develop curricula to kind of backdoor. So music, if you have a knowledge base in both music and general education, you're able to find the connections, the natural connections between the two. So I was really big on interdisciplinary studies and the nature of music. So all of you, both of you are musicians. So we know that math is all incorporated in there.
It's all in there.
It's just all in there. But unless you have a background in music, the fundamentals, and in mathematics, you're not able to see the relationship. But when you have it in both, you can see the connection.
Right.
So we would use opportunities to teach fractions through music.
Okay.
We would teach, similes and metaphors and so forth. And so that was the gist of the program. We used the project-based model to do so. And we did it, ran that program for about 6 years.
Wow.
Nice. Ran it for about 6 years. And I ended up stopping it. Now, in retrospect, I probably shouldn't have, but when you're young, you
found something else to do, or you got busy.
Well, you know what? It wasn't even necessarily that. So with grants, as both of you are probably familiar with,
a lot of oversight.
A lot of oversight, but it wasn't even that. The golden rule comes into play. Whoever has the gold makes the rules.
Yeah, correct.
And so, unfortunately, year after year, the board would always add new components, mandatory components to the program that I designed.
Yeah.
And it got to the point where it wasn't looking like the program that I created
anymore. Yeah.
It didn't serve the purpose that you wanted to serve.
It was starting to change and modify.
It was still serving the students, but it wasn't doing so in the manner that I had designed it, because they wanted a lot of, let's say, casework.
Okay.
To be done with the students. They wanted us to find out how's your home life going and different things like that.
Oh.
And those things were taking place naturally.
But then you say, I need you to.
Yeah, but when
I need you to send home a paper home with their behaviors.
To sit down with the kid and say, hey, how are things going at home? It's like they start looking at you like, what is this?
Exactly.
Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
That's not what I came here for.
Exactly.
You're ruining this moment for me.
Now, when you're in the studio, that stuff would naturally,
it happens.
They feel comfortable.
Yeah.
And so they're talking or whatever, and you're able to impart and help them with their situation. But when you start making it synthetic, and it's like, okay,
it becomes, it takes the
it does, and you're
passion
just
for
want to help. And so I ended up stopping it because I'm like, this is not what I signed up for. It just wasn't, and like I said, in retrospect, I could have stayed and still made an impact, but I ended up stopping because it just wasn't what I created anymore, and it wasn't
produce what you
it
wasn't yielding the result that you
wanted. It wasn't, and so I decided to stop. And around that time, that's when we were well into the home crash and the financial collapse that our nation was going through.
Okay.
Right.
The bubble.
Exactly.
07, 08, 09.
The bubble. And so I ended up going back into the classroom for a little while. So as a matter of fact, this was toward the tail end of that. And I made my way back into the classroom in Palm Beach, stayed there for about 3 years. And then I ended up returning back to Broward County. Let me fast forward. I ended up doing work as a program director for Broward County Schools. And I was working out in the city of Weston. And so this was actually almost the start of where I am now. And so if anyone is familiar with the city of Weston, I had never visited Weston before in my life.
Oh, wow.
I grew up Sunland area, Lauderdale Manors area, and so there was no need for me to ever venture out. I had never been out that
Go
far.
out your comfort zone, please.
Please.
Started sounding like
out your comfort zone.
Say it again.
Started sounding like Simba. Like, Dad, what's that over there?
Yeah, exactly.
When you get out your comfort zone,
what's
that's
over
when you
there?
Exactly. And so, I'm working at Eagle Point, and I'm so grateful for the principal hiring me there. Her name is Christine Desires. I learned so much from her.
Thank you, Christine.
She still rocks. You're awesome. I love you. Awesome. But anyhow, so I come out there, and I'm looking, and again, I had never seen this before in the neighborhoods that I grew up in and so forth. And so I'm looking, and you got the parents, they're holding their children's hands and walking them down the street off to school. Yeah. Everybody's looking all happy, and it's like it's something from a movie.
Look at this.
Like, what is this?
I've never seen this before in real life. It
was only on TV.
And so all I had heard about Weston prior to working out at that school was that, you know, you have a bunch of doctors and lawyers and engineers out there and so forth. You know, those only kind of people can afford to live out there.
This is true.
And so, you know, I'm out there and I'm observing because I would help with morning duty. Y'all know what morning duty is. Yeah. So
I forget about it.
Exactly. You know, so I'm out there. I'm helping with the car line, and I'm looking and I'm observing, and so there were doctors. You know, I came upon doctors and attorneys and engineers out there. But I started noticing a trend. The good majority of the parents that were out there were business owners.
Oh,
they had their own business.
Yeah.
I'm looking at vehicles, you know, promoting this business and that business, and the parents are coming in with this shirt. And I'm like, I just say to myself, because I'm here I am, I'm standing here 3 degrees, and I'm looking at these people. I'm like, wait a minute. And this is no dig on the people.
Yeah.
But it's almost like the light bulb comes on.
You're too smart for that.
It's like, wait a minute.
Hold on.
If this person can do it, I know this person ain't smarter than this. This person can't be smarter than me. They can't be.
You gotta wake up.
If this person can do it, I know I can do it.
I tell people sometimes the common sense bulb clicks on earlier for other people. Like, this works. I don't have to go to school to do this. This just works.
And so, you know, the other thing too, though, so going back to where I grew up, and Dirk has probably heard me say this before, and I've told other people this. So in the neighborhood I grew up, the only entrepreneurs that I was exposed to were lawn men and someone who had a little restaurant. You know, that's it.
Those are big ones too.
Big ones.
There's no way in the world I wanted to be a lawn man because my dad would have us cutting the grass. I've
been out
I did my due.
I'm red and I burn. I don't even tan. I burn. So I'm like, that's not happening. And the restaurant, I don't cook. You know, I can make 2 things: French toast and conch salad. And those 2 don't even go together.
They can't make a whole meal together.
Right? But anyhow, so going back to exposure, then that's why I said repeat what you said, man. Get out of your comfort zone. And so once I was introduced now to a new environment, and I'm seeing others. And like I said, it's just regular people. And like I said, you know, if they could, And so I was working mad hours at the school because I loved what I was doing, doing program director work. I was still working with students. It was basically the same thing that I was doing with C, only I was doing it for the school board.
The school board.
The same exact model I introduced into the school board. I took that model, plugged it in here. We're going to have, you know, majors or whatever. Let the students choose the thing that they are interested in.
Right.
And then we backdoor them, teach them different stuff or whatever. And so after that, and I can't reveal, but I'll just say this. So the program, I built it up. It had 279 students when I started.
Wow.
And then I built it up to like 410 students.
Yeah.
And the program was making... you know, I can say this. I won't say the exact amount, but it was making 7 figures.
Oh, wow. Woo. Nice.
And so again, I said to myself, if I can work this hard and generate something that's turning out 7 figures for somebody else,
I can do
that for myself.
I can at least get the 6 for myself.
Exactly.
I can do that.
At least I
can. And so, you know, I had a aha moment with 2 major services that I wanted to offer. One was along the lines of homework help, and another one was along the lines of enrichment, both of which I do now. And so the thing that was key when it came to enrichment, which was what I was doing back in 2005, was that it's about exposure. I wanted to make sure, I love to see students and children students, whatever you want to call them. So I've worked with high school students, I've worked with elementary, middle, doesn't matter. But I love it when a kid is able to identify something that they're good at. Because I tell people all the time, you know, your path usually starts there. So, been in education, you know, plus years. I don't know how long you've been in there.
Almost 14.
See, almost 14 years. So, year after year, and I tell this story wherever I go to, you see, and it still happens to date. To date, it's still happening in the school system, where you have a student who has finished high school and they've graduated, and now they realize, okay, well, nobody's making me wake up to go to a school anymore. So now what do I do with my life?
Exactly.
What do I do? And you have two paths of students. Those who were focused, knew exactly, hey, as soon as I leave here, I'm going to this school and I'm gonna study this. And then you have that other group where they
have no direction.
They have no direction. And a lot of times, in my opinion, because again, this is just my opinion, it's the failure of not just the school system, but a lot of times, so I won't say failure, but it's the shortcoming of the school system, and sometimes even with parents, where you're not exposing these students to enough. Exactly. They're not exposed to enough. They just know what's in their area, just like me when I was younger. If it's not in Lauderhill, Lauderdale Manors, or Sunland,
they don't know
or Pompano, then I don't know anything about it. But it wasn't until I got exposed to something different where you start seeing more possibilities. And so even with the enrichment that we do, it's about giving these students an opportunity to explore and be exposed to different things with the hopes that they'll, number one, identify something. Wait a minute. I've never been exposed to robotics. I like this. You know, I like working with my hands. I like the program. But if they never got exposed to it, how would they even know?
Exactly.
How would they even know if they didn't have the opportunity? And so it starts there where, okay, well, this is something that I like. And then we know that there are so many career paths that branches off to.
It does.
Last thing I'll say before I pause, because I'm pretty sure you guys probably have some questions. But even going back to when we were at Florida Memorial. I love Florida Memorial. That's my school.
All
day. Love Florida Memorial.
Love it.
Unfortunately, the only thing I would say that was a shortcoming at the time, because again, you got to realize what year we're talking. So we're talking 98 when I arrived at Florida Memorial. So 98, internet was not really big then for us. I never forget the first time they started trying to teach us about a search engine and email. So they're talking about
Jeeves.
So they use the word search engine to me. I hear engine, I'm thinking about a car.
Exactly.
So what are you talking about? What is a search engine?
Like, where are you?
Email. What is an email?
Exactly.
What? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And so I said all of that to say, as far as the music program at the time, music students really only had, 3 paths. The only thing that we were really exposed to was either becoming a professional musician, a music teacher, or a church musician.
Exactly.
That's it.
Those were
the paths.
Those were it.
A combination there.
And so, unfortunately, we weren't aware of all of those other career paths that existed within that field. So not every musician is going to become a professional musician.
Correct.
It's just not going to happen. But there are so many other things that you can do within that field if you were exposed to it. And if you knew about it.
They try, I feel like they tried to expose us to certain things. They had some people come in who from the music industry and, kind of give us some understanding of certain things.
See, now I must have been absent that day.
You must have been good.
Or not in that class.
They didn't really give us that much of an understanding. We went to a radio station. I think it was WBLS. And we just sat there the whole time. We didn't even get a chance to get into the radio station. It was like just literally like, oh, they're too busy for y'all. I'll see you later.
Whoa.
Exposure is key. Exposure is key. And so I said all of that to say, that's basically how I got here now. identified, hey, all the way back in 2005 with the SEAT program, and even with what I was doing with the school board, that same model, I was fortunate enough to recognize, oh, this is the thing that I enjoy so much. Because I knew I loved kids, but I didn't like the classroom. I knew I loved education. I didn't like the classroom. I knew I liked being creative and everything else. So I'm like, what is my field? What is this thing called? Oh, educational support services. That's what it's called. That's what it is. And the thing that I like is this enrichment component and the homework component. Let me take these out, create a business. And that's what I ended up doing. So, doing the thing now, this is what I love to do. Now, granted, we all know it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
Never
Having your business is a lot of work.
That I'm not working. Exactly. But, I would take my most challenging day as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, over my best day, working for somebody else. Correct. It may sound odd to hear that, but it's so true.
Yeah, it is.
I'm so ready to get to that point. you guys probably have every idea. I can't say you got no idea.
So I have an idea. I'm gonna say this last thing before you ask me your next question. So I know you gave me some props on the intro, but I think I told you this, and so it's worth repeating. You actually inspired me to be courageous enough to take that leap, because you guys know, when you have a family, when you're a father, when you're a husband, you got responsibilities. You have responsibilities. And so, especially when you're older, to take a risk like that when you're 40 as opposed to I'm 25. And so if I mess up, I still got a lot of time.
Leeway.
You're like,
40. You can't be making mistakes at 40.
When you're young, you get to make mistakes by yourself.
Exactly.
The only person that know you shame is you.
Exactly.
But then you got people watching you.
You get an answer to somebody?
Exactly. Exactly. And so even with that, for my wife to believe in me and be willing to take that leap with me, that was a huge thing too.
Key, right spouse.
Monumental.
That's
big, man.
The right spouse. Very important.
It is. There's no way in the world I could do this without her. Us working as a team has gotten so much stronger, and I love it. That's something that I had been looking for years. To find somebody who's going to be a partner. And so I know sometimes people use that word loosely. So I'm gonna go back. Church.
There you go.
Our generation. That word partner was not used a lot. At all. Especially not when it came to marriage. It was husband, wife, husband's the head, wife, you listen.
You do what I say.
You do what I say. You listen, and you gotta submit to me.
Exactly.
There it is.
That ain't.
Women don't get up
that was the playbook,
that was
y'all.
back then, okay? Not now.
And that's what was being.
That's what was going down.
Told. And so sometimes, you trying to
eat this pie, anime.
I know, right?
Like, come on now. They told me that if I get one of you, you're going to do what I need you to do.
Exactly. And it's like, if you wanted a slave or something like that, then what was the point of getting married?
Exactly.
If you want somebody who's going to do what you tell them to do, that's like a child.
Exactly.
And not even a child listens to their parents all the time. And so to have someone who's a true partner that's willing to come alongside you, hold you up when you need holding, and you doing the same thing, and they're in there fighting every day with you as well, and so forth. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. So, dear, if you're watching this or whenever you do watch it, I love you so much. And this wouldn't work without you. It really wouldn't. So.
Okay.
Yes.
Summed up in maybe a couple words, what challenges or challenge did you have to overcome within yourself to turn that paradigm that we were just talking about, that culture around to get it to work in your marriage?
So I'll say
for
this.
You.
in my opinion, no marriage that has lasted, 15, 18, 20, 30 years, anybody who's been married for a long time, that every marriage has challenges.
Yeah.
Even the ones where you look at
they look perfect.
They look so happy. Y'all still talk to each other?
Brother and sister.
Like
Y'all
whatever.
like
The married people, you already know.
Yeah.
You already know. And so, I mean, we definitely had our trials. We've had our tribulations. We even had a period of time where it looked like this thing was about to be over.
Wow.
And it wasn't but for the grace of God. The love of my wife, the Holy Spirit in me, the Holy Spirit in her, and it's okay if I say that.
Yeah, you're good, man.
Yeah.
Hey, man.
Hey, I'm gonna look
it's
here.
all good. You put God in. We are not ashamed of God.
Hey, look here.
No,
And God just speaking to each one of us being willing to do the hard work, because it seems easy. The easier thing would be to part ways.
Yeah, that's the easiest.
The first point.
Rather than, let me put it this way, and I can only say this based upon what I've been told. It seems like it's easy to do that.
It should be.
But after you end up splitting all of the stuff you dealing with, as a result of that split, it's like, oh my God, was it worth it? I mean, it's still hard.
It's still hard.
It's gonna be hard regardless.
It's gonna be hard regardless.
It's gonna be harder now.
I think that's what a lot of people miss, because so often when you're in the midst of a challenge or a struggle,
hard to see your way out.
And I'm gonna get spiritual on y'all again.
It's all good.
But,
all right.
Go there.
It's like the enemy or challenges, they'll put blinders on the possibility of things getting better, because your focus turns to just how sucky things are.
Exactly.
And the same thing is true even with business.
Exactly related.
That's one of the reasons why most businesses don't last and people don't endure, is because when you're going through that struggle, it's like it seems like that's the only thing that's happening right now. It's like, oh my God, and if you don't have the right perspective, I'm really big on perspective. Really big on perspective. If you don't have the right perspective on things, then you're gonna start losing sight of that vision that you had at the very beginning. And so it's like that journey. Most people, and I guarantee you, if you ask most, as what you would deem as successful entrepreneurs, if somebody told them, hey, when I first saw this vision of this grandiose vision, if I first saw this and knew that I was going to end up going through all this, would I have
still done it?
Most of them would probably tell you no. They had no clue all of this was going to happen. And so, when you hear the stories, because I'm big on staying encouraged and motivated, listening to others, learning from others as well. It's like everybody's story is the same in terms of the struggle.
We're trying to get
and there's no getting around it.
You're
gonna pay a price.
You're gonna pay somehow.
If you're unwilling to pay that price, then don't even bother getting into it.
Exactly.
It costs you.
It's gonna
cost
you
what it costs.
Yeah.
I heard that from TD Jakes. He was talking about something, but that line stuck with me.
It costs what it costs.
It costs what it costs. There is no negotiating. There's no shortcuts. It's gonna cost you something. And if you're not willing to pay that price, then don't even bother. And so, look here. I would say, as far as going back to your original question, it took stripping away all of that other stuff that we heard. And as a marriage, you got to realize and recognize, hey, we have our own palette. I brought in what I modeled and what I was taught. I brought all of that into the marriage, and she did the same or whatever.
Right.
And unless you realize that, hey, this is your marriage, and it's a blank canvas. You create the marriage that works for y'all.
Yeah, exactly. Not using other people's stereotypes to determine your direction.
Get rid of that, man. You're creating your own
something
family.
new.
Something brand new. And y'all got to figure out what works for y'all. And so after going through those trials, that's something that we recognize. And there comes a point too where, and I'm just keeping it real, and when a marriage does hit that season of where the two or one or are thinking about calling it quits,
right?
You're kind of in a state of limbo because nothing has really been.
Everything's up in the air. Nobody really said anything.
You're just talking right now.
Yeah, you rah.
Exactly. I'm gonna go where if you want to go, you go. And so you still there, y'all talking.
Yeah.
But there's gonna come a point where somebody has to make a decision.
Yeah.
Look here, either I'm staying or I'm going.
Yeah.
And after a while, if you realize that we talking but ain't nobody going nowhere, then you realize, okay, clearly we staying. So if we gonna stay, then some things gotta change. Because this ain't working.
This ain't working.
Yeah.
This ain't working.
I had that conversation just this weekend. I know I did something wrong.
This ain't working.
But how this gonna be talked about got to be a little different. I'm willing to be amenable, flexible. I'm willing to compromise wherever you want me to be.
And whenever I talk to younger couples who've been in the marriage game, not saying that I've been in there forever, but I got some receipts, some scars. Been battle tested, and I have no doubt. There will be more battles to come.
Yeah. Because you're constantly evolving.
You're constantly.
You're not the same person you started out with.
You're constantly doing that.
You and your partner are changing.
One thing that I tell people is so important to have authentic communication.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is this. Especially with a marriage, it's so easy because you fall into routines. Yeah. That's just, it's unavoidable. How was your day? My day was good. How was your day? The kids this or whatever. And so you're talking, but you're not really talking.
Yeah. You're not getting down to the...
And a lot of times, something might be bothering one, and just because you don't feel like arguing, you don't really say nothing. No, man. You have the argument.
Have the argument.
Have the argument. There's nothing wrong with disagreement.
Yeah.
Granted, you will find a healthy way to
get back to the path.
Yeah, exactly. But you gotta have it, man. You gotta be real and authentic. And sometimes y'all may be in it, and it may come out a way that you don't like the way you heard it. You can deal with that later.
Exactly.
You can deal with that later.
At least it comes out.
But at least it comes out.
At least it comes out because the worst part is if it doesn't come out and it starts to seed. And see, I've known individuals who were married to individuals, didn't know anything was going on, and all of a sudden the person just up and left.
Yeah,
and they're like, what happened?
You had no clue.
No clue whatsoever. I said, did you have any clue?
Had no clue that this person was that unhappy. It's like, well, I was in, I thought everything was okay.
No, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't. It's like sometimes your absence of talking speaks volumes to people.
It does.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're not talking about my feelings. You haven't talked about my feelings in years. You haven't done anything I would like to do in years. It gets like that after a little while. And I had that same thought process this weekend. I'm just like, I'm having this moment right now where I've had to just talk. Get it out. Get it out there. Because you end up holding things that end up just festering. And it's not good for the relationship, nor is it good for you.
It isn't good for you. It's all.
It is.
You think you're doing something special by hopping up and leaving, but you taking that same,
you're taking
the same stuff with you.
And you're taking your same self with you.
You are, and it's very subtle, and you don't realize it until later. But this is what's happening. Whenever you're not being authentic and not communicated, you're slowly doing this.
Whenever
you're not, how it happens. Where it's like, well, I thought. What? You left, and then who you with? You found who? You in love with who?
Exactly.
Where's all this coming from?
Exactly.
Look, man, we got to start pioneering something right here on the podcast. Check in. Check in with your wife, partner.
With your
check in on a regular basis.
Talk.
Okay.
Like really talk, communicate.
If you can go to the dentist every year, you can have a check-in with your wife.
You can.
If you can go to the doctor, if you can go get your oil changed, and you got to get that changed, you can go speak to your partner and check to see how they're doing.
So here's the other thing that's so cool too, and I was just talking about this with somebody that I'm mentoring. So even a lot of things that I've learned through marriage, I even apply with business.
Yeah, I was about to talk about that.
Even with authentic communication, and I'm pretty sure you guys have probably discovered this yourself. So a lot of the individuals that I speak with on a consistent basis are administrators, whether they're school administrators, whatever, district administrators. And so as a former educator myself, a lot of times, it's like the teacher's here and the administrator is there, and you see, or even with any business, okay, that I'm here and the boss is up there.
There's a divide,
and you see them, and I get it because you got to have boundaries.
Yeah,
and there is protocol and everything else. There's a hierarchy, and yet at the same time, one of the things that you come to realize is that they're people. They're just people.
People just like you are.
And one of the things that they appreciate is authenticity. I've discovered that to be true every time. Nobody likes a phony.
No, we don't.
Nobody likes a phony.
You could tell it.
And
Tell it like
smell it.
Like a
You
TIA.
You can see it coming.
Yeah, you can see it coming.
Nobody likes a phony. And so even in business, when you're trying to establish a relationship with somebody, it is best to be as authentic as possible. Granted, does that mean, you got to share everything? Like, look here, man, I just broke wind. Or you don't have to tell them that. But, be yourself.
Yeah.
And I've come to find that people appreciate that even in business because that lets them know, okay, this person is real. They don't have any hidden agenda. They're not going to try to cheat me or anything because trust is something that has to be earned. Yeah. And even with business, you could go on a website, but just because, and I mean, you'll see an outstanding looking website.
Right.
Like, man, this thing looks like it's on the level. And then you actually get there and hire the people. And it's like, wait a minute, this not what I saw on the website.
This is
what
the impression
is
I got.
And so there are so many opportunities these days to get swindled, or the thing that you thought it was is not what it is. And so it's very refreshing when you come across somebody who is genuine and who does do what they say that they're actually going to do. Right. And relationships are so important. I think that's one of the things that a lot of people miss in business. A lot of people, yes, granted, if you're not selling, you're not in business. If you're not making money, then the doors are not going to stay open. Yeah. And yet at the same time, those relationships are the real value of your business. Yeah. Your relationships with your customers. Right. Your relationships with the other business and your vendors. The relationships are the things that hold your business together. But if you're mistreating it, so just like with your partner or your spouse, if you start mistreating them and taking them for granted, it's gonna break down. It's gonna break down. It's the same thing with business. Hey, if you're not talking with that customer and the way that you would want to be spoken to, right? And
you lose customers.
You lose customers, and hey, if I'm not, coming and speaking with this person the same way or whatever, the relationships break down, or the only time you hear me is when I need something or whatever.
Yeah, or I want your money.
Or when I want your money. No, man. People, nobody wants to be taken advantage of.
Period.
Nobody.
Yes.
Nobody. Yeah. Granted, yes, you're in business. Nobody's in business to lose money.
Exactly.
Okay. No one.
No, nobody.
Absolutely nobody.
Yes, I'm in business to make money, but I'm also in business to make an impact and have true partnerships and relationships with people.
All right, let's pause for a minute, guys. What are we doing? What's up?
Cutting this fan off.
Man, that fan's been on for the last 45 minutes.
I know, that's all
you not changing nothing. That's our theme song right now.
I was like, gosh,
there's going to be a huge disparity in sound now that we turned that off. Oh, you think you heard it? I'm like, man, we 45 in.
That is hilarious.
I was like, because I was like, wait a minute, what's that noise? I was like, The fan is on. God.
I thought it was the air conditioner, so I was like, okay, gotta let that roll. That's just what it is. I'm not gonna be hot for nobody.
See, now I didn't even recognize the sound
until you turn it off, right?
Until you turn it off. But the only reason I didn't even recognize it, but I actually sleep with a fan right on my neck.
So you bought that like air conditioner and the fan?
Look at the AC is at 72. The ceiling fan is on.
Man, a little fan
right there blowing in my face. So look here, I'm accustomed to the noise, man. It's all the thing to me. I'm trying to sleep.
Man, I heard it and I was like, I don't know how to say this during the middle of the recording. I'm like, it's gonna be tough.
But it's all good because this is outtakes for us.
Oh,
so it's all good.
It's beautiful. This still works.
It still works.
We can hop back in and like it never happened.
Like it ain't no thing.
Question, Dirk.
Yeah. So my question, you almost answered the question that I was going to ask in the first place. Now I'm used to the fan. I feel like something's missing.
Something's totally missing. But once we get into it, we won't even let it.
So sorry to cut you off. So what I was going to ask you, but you already kind of elaborated, was how does your business affect your personal life?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we talked about this on the podcast last week, and it was like, actually there's this thought, really, your body is your business, right? So if you have a business, right, your business, it actually functions through cash flow.
Mm-hmm.
And you also your body functions through food. Mm-hmm. So what you put into your business and what you put into your body have to make it function. The body has to operate a certain way.
Yep.
We talk about food all the time, where the things we're trying to get healthy. In order for you to have the energy that you need to even do your business, you got to have certain things.
You guys, make sure y'all check that out. And the 5 reasons why you're broke.
5 reasons why you're broke.
Okay, make sure y'all check that out. We'll leave the link for y'all.
So getting back to that, I was thinking about the fact that the correlation between what do you need to operate in your business and as well as your personal life for those to be able to be balanced at the same time. Mm-hmm. So what are those things that you need, that you have now that keep, like, because sometimes when people, like, you ever notice that when people are like working on these television shows with their wives, they end up getting divorced because of situations, or they working in business with their wives, or what, and it becomes you don't know how to separate business from your personal life, and it starts to interact where it starts to affect things in a negative manner. How do you navigate this without allowing that to seep into your personal relationships and still navigate your business and keep everything separate and still be able to function and not bring it home, quote unquote, or have it interrupt or impact it in a negative way?
So I think that's a very, very good question. So I'm gonna say a lot of stuff to answer that. And again, this is just my experience, and I am not ashamed to say that I am still learning. But this is all my opinion. So with our business, VF Business Group, my wife and I started it, number one, already with the mindset of legacy and thinking beyond ourselves. Because again, both of us are well into our 40s. We're closer to 50. We were just joking about it. We're closer to 50 than we are in our 30s and so forth. And so I think any parent, or at least me, I would like to think, but any parent knows that in my opinion, your sole responsibility as a parent is to make sure that your child is prepared and equipped to thrive in this life. Not survive.
Thrive,
but thrive.
Yeah.
And so even when it comes to business, hey, why are you starting this business? And you hear about scaling and all of these other things or whatever, and businesses going from one level to another level. But one of the things that we're endeavoring to do is to create something that is going to outlive us. So you think about your General Electric. You think about your Wells Fargo,
your Rothschild,
exactly, and all of these other companies that have outlived the founders. And so when it comes to legacy and hey, where is this thing going? Even if it comes to a point where my children don't even want to run the business, I'm perfectly okay with that. But we want something that is going to last and to stand the test of time. Now, with that being said, when you are working on something together, you realize that, hey, business and the family, this family business is connected. So when you're talking about separating the two, that's not always is
easy,
cut and dry.
Yeah, it isn't.
There's gray lines.
Because even with our business, we have our kids. They're learning from the bottom up too. Yeah. So we're teaching them certain things as well about handling their finances, staying focused. So you mentioned it, but I've talked about in years past our family core values. Yes. Core value number 1, faith in God. Core value number 2, family. Core value number 3, finances. Core value number 4, focus. Core value number 5, fervor. Core value number 6, fitness. Core value number 7, friendship. So, how many years ago was that? I would say it's probably been at least about a good 4 or 5 years ago. I ended up asking my brother to design a family crest for us, or a sigil. So, the tattoo that you've seen on there. I was really big into the show Game of Thrones. I love it.
That's his favorite show.
I love that show, but one of the things that I loved the most was about how each family or each house, they had their own crest and so forth. And so even when we were talking about, I was telling you about that conversation with family crest, unfortunately, when it comes to African Americans, we don't have that due to slavery. Correct. And so I had a conversation when I was talking about first getting this tattoo and getting the family crest made. I had a colleague of mine ask, she asked the question, she's like, you don't have a family crest? Like, what do you mean? You don't have one? What are you talking about? It's like, no, I don't have one. And you have a lot of African American families that don't, because one of the cruelest thing that slavery did was it decimated our families.
And the names that you have can be attached to somebody else's family crest.
Exactly.
That happens to not be black.
Decimated the family unit where you had fathers getting sold off here and getting separated from their wives, and the kids, being sold off here, and you couldn't keep the family together.
Of course, it's the core nuclear family.
One of the things that I wanted to do with my kids and my family is to establish a new foundation. And like whenever anyone asks, what makes up a Veasy, hey, these are our core values here. Number one, faith in God. We ain't losing that. You're going to pass that down to the next generation. Yes, we believe in God. Yes, we're going to follow God. We listen. Yes, faith in God. Number 2, family. There is nothing else more important than family. And going back to even when it comes to when we were talking about marriage, and like I told you, even when my wife and I had that period of time, like, look here, what are we doing? And you start, I can speak for myself. So I grew up with both of my parents in the house. And even now, being an adult and married for a while now, I've realized and recognized, hey, they went through a lot.
They had to.
That you as a child just didn't know about.
Understand,
But a lot of times, if you grow up into that, sometimes you take those things for granted because you never knew what it was like to grow up without one of your parents there. And so I said all of that to say, when you're on the verge of potentially losing that, you have a deeper appreciation for what you have.
Yes, sir.
For what you have.
It's a lot more special at that point.
Oh my God.
It becomes so special. And I think the part that we miss so much is being grateful.
Being grateful.
Being grateful for the things that you have. We've been programmed to not do that. Like you can always get something new. Go pick up something new. Go buy something new. It's that easy to just do something new.
But family, man. Family. I think about sometimes whether it's a homeless person or whatever, family is, they're supposed to
be somebody for them.
Somebody is supposed to be there.
It could be just pride too.
Everybody's gonna have that season.
Yeah.
Where you're at a low point.
Yeah.
But family is the one that's supposed to be there to help or whatever. Yeah. And oh my God.
Even when you're the one that slid off to the side, they're supposed to be the ones going, look, hey, look.
That's right. Because that's
good.
Family.
Yeah.
You're family. We can talk about this later.
When you got that family unit and when you got a family working together, man, there's nothing that family cannot accomplish.
Yeah.
And so going back to your original question, when I was talking about even with, our children and training them up and thinking beyond us, because the Veasy family is larger than just me and the five of us that make up this family. And even with my son, hey, I tell him all, he gets a little sad sometimes, but it's just reality.
Yeah.
Son, there's gonna come a point where I am not here anymore.
Yeah. You gotta prepare them.
Everybody is gonna experience that.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Yeah.
There's gonna come a point when I am not here anymore.
Yeah.
I need to make sure you know how to do this. I need to make sure I told you about this. And so your whole job is preparing them for life when you're no longer here.
Correct. It's so interesting.
And to be able to stand on your own.
Interesting you say, I should have said it this morning, or we were on another podcast, is that there's an expression, there's a saying says that you don't become a man until your father dies.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, there is some aspect of that, because as a son, if you had a relationship with your father, you depend on that relationship for a certain amount of things to get you through certain things.
True.
But there's a point where you become who he was to somebody else.
Yeah.
Now you have to become that person to your child.
Yeah.
So now you become the man in your family, and you got to pass down your traditions, your values, your core values, the things that he's instilled in you, and you got to instill that in other individuals.
Yeah.
And so that's something that you got to focus. Not just only just talking about men, but even if you're a mother, you can instill those things as a mother into your daughter for the future.
Yeah, got to. You got to. And so even just to kind of wrap up my answer about your question, even with that balance, because the business is a family business and everyone is playing a part in it, there's some give and take. Now, granted, there are plenty of long nights, but one of the things I do love about having your own business is it does allow me to see my kids more. It affords me the time to be the one that drives them here. Yeah. It affords me the time, hey, if I want to take a day off or whatever and do this there, I do see them more. And yes, I am working a lot, but I'm also constantly, even if I'm home and working, I'll pause. Yeah. They see me. I check in. Yeah. Hey, what you doing up here, son? Whatever. Yeah. So there's never a time where they're not seeing me. I'm not missing. Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. I'm not missing, even with working really, really, really hard. Yeah. I'm ever present. Yeah. I think they're a little spoiled about that.
That's a very great advantage to have.
It is.
An interesting thing that we had, and I'll let Daryl ask another question, is that we had on this podcast, the women were talking about certain things, and they were stunned at our answers. One thing that was interesting is that one of the questions the ladies were asking is that, how do I get behind your vision when I might not even be able to support your vision? I don't believe in what you're doing. Mm-hmm. And the fact of the matter is that you're in a position, or put yourself in a position, where your wife has believed in your vision and it worked. Mm-hmm. And what amount of joy that you have knowing that, like, she understands that your vision worked. It wasn't something that it went down the drain, but we talked about that based on character. Why did she decide to believe in what you were supporting you're doing? What were you putting in place that she said, okay, you know what? I believe that you're doing the best. You're making the best decision for our family. Did she give you any kickback in the beginning? Did you say, I'm doing this and I'm going to do it whatever, or we doing this together and then we're going to make this work? Because it never comes out the way it seemed, because she didn't automatically just start working with you in your business. That was a progression of over time. So how did you start or at least selling this to her in the beginning? You know what I'm saying?
So we actually made the decision together to start the business.
Okay.
Now her transition out of the classroom and doing the business full time, that's something that took time.
Yeah.
Because I think any entrepreneur has learned things never go as fast as you want them to.
Correct. Yeah.
They never go as fast as you want them to.
What did you say this morning? Disrupt was it disruption?
Intention
leads to
disruption follows intention.
Exactly.
Yeah. So and so it's something that's gonna take time, and it may at the beginning be at the point where only one of us can afford to break away. So granted, the other one, you're still working together, but hey, I can't be here, I'm not in this every day like you are, or sorry, I'm not in this full time putting in the hours that you are, but we're still doing this together. And so, we had to wait until things got to the point where we could. I want to stress that you'll notice I didn't use the words where things were safe enough for us to step out.
Wow.
Because I think that's the mistake that a lot of people, and even sometimes with the women and the question that you were asking, not just women, but everybody. Most people, especially when you have a family, you're looking for safety.
Yeah, correct.
And in all honesty, any business person knows. Look here, there are no guarantees
of anything working out.
Anything. So if you're looking for me to tell you, hey, it's safe to come out or whatever, that's never gonna happen.
Exactly.
Even with, let's go back to, we were talking about the financial crisis and the housing bubble and all of that stuff back in the day. Teaching used to be the safest career on earth.
Yes.
Man.
And even back then, I'm talking Broward County, Dade County, Palm Beach County, even back then they were letting teachers go.
Yeah.
They give them a 1-year contract and next thing you know, you out of here. That used to be the safest. There's no way in the world you can lose that job. And now what do you have? Now look at what you have. Where one thing that taught, no job is safe.
None.
No job is safe. Ever safe.
I had that moment when they 3 years into teaching, nothing going on. I don't have no problems with nobody. I'm doing great. I got my brand program going. Oh, we're gonna need you to be at another school on Monday.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh, the pay period now on Friday, they're like, oh, the pay period starts today, so you need to go right now.
Yeah.
Wow.
Surplus in a
just
blink of an eye.
Just like that.
Wow.
And after that happened, I was like, I can't teach forever. I can't teach in this. Because it's not. You thought it was safe.
Yeah.
You're like, I got my I got my plan. Teach. Assistant principalship. Principal. You know what I'm saying? Go a little further, do district stuff. Okay, cool. I got my path. You telling me, even as a teacher, you can pick me up and move me wherever you decide to move me that day?
Yeah.
Yes, you can.
That's power.
That's power.
That's power over you.
Can. And so going back to that question, both of us understood that, but what ended up happening was the business got to the point where, hey, you're needed. Like, look here, we got X number of customers or whatever. I can't do this by myself. I mean, I had a great team and still do, but I need you.
Yeah.
I need you because this thing is going to look here. You are needed. Exactly.
I can't put this in nobody else's hands.
I can't. You are needed.
You are needed.
Full time. And so that was the thing. I think every business owner, especially ones that stay in the game, there comes a point where you cross the Rubicon.
Yeah.
And, that's that point of no return. And so, look here, I crossed that. I burned that bridge. I destroyed that yoke. I destroyed that boat. Look here, there is no going backwards. We go forward, and this is who I am. I am a business owner.
Yeah,
I'm not a person who's playing at this thing.
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
we in business.
We in
For
business.
real.
This is real.
Yes, yeah.
And so, you know, when you get to that point and you recognize that this is not a game.
Yeah.
You know, you're dealing with real people. You got real payroll and everything else that you got. There is no going back. And so I'm going to say this very deliberately, where you recognize that failure, and when I say failure, meaning that quitting, failure or quitting is not an option. Yeah. That's just not going to happen. Now, granted, you know, you're gonna have plenty of learning experiences. Right. So to me, failure is you quitting. Yeah. Or you not learning the lesson. So you know, you got some lessons that you learn the easy way and some that you learn the hard way. Yeah. But granted, there are plenty of learning experiences. But you take that and we can only move one direction. Yeah. Forward. It is forward. That's it. That's it. So there are gonna be times where you may feel like quitting, but you know, I think I was telling you that the other day. I was about to tell you that the other day. You know, the business was going through a dry season. Because we deal with students a lot. Come to find out that summer is our dry season. You had to discover that. Exactly. People start moving around. Yeah, you have to discover that. And so again, you know, you're just fighting every day, and that's what business, especially those first few years. You look here, I'm fighting from one day to the next day to the next day. We gonna make sure we stay open. Yeah. Hey, as long as I'm still alive, then there is always hope. Hope. Yes. Exactly. That the next day will get better. Yeah. And that's the same thing even with a marriage and a relationship. It may be sucky today, but look here, as long as we still in this thing, there's hope. Yeah, that it will get better because we have not quit. Yeah, exactly. There's always hope. Yeah, and you know that goes back to what I was saying about perspective. There is always hope. Never lose hope. I wake up every day. The first thing that comes out of my mouth today, something good is going to happen to me today. Okay, I will see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. I wake up full of hope and expectation. And so what I do each day too, not only am I expecting and hoping for good things, now granted, like I said, I get challenges every day. Every day. But I also take an accounting at the end of the day of recognizing all of the good things that did happen. Keeping things in perspective, making sure that I'm not just focusing on the negative, because there's a lot of good stuff happening too. Yes, sir. But so many people get tripped up and you're only seeing the negative. That's it. And really, if you have, you correct those lenses, you'll recognize that, hey, whether you realize it or not, there's a lot more good stuff happening than this one bad thing that's happened today. Yeah. But you just took it so hard and let yourself go there. Stay there. Let set up camp there. Exactly. And you set up camp there instead of seeing all of this good stuff that happened today. Yeah, absolutely. The fact that you get to see it happen. Exactly. So it's like the person where, let's say you wanted 10 grand to come in today, but 5 grand came in today. And so you allow yourself to get disappointed that 10 grand didn't come in today, not recognizing, hey, do you know how many businesses wish they had 5 grand right now? They want $1. Some people want $1. What? Some people want 5 grand this month. Are you kidding me? They just want to get $1. You get it's better than goose egg. Exactly. Understand? It's better than, man, if you get hung up because only 5 grand came in a day, that's better than goose egg. Man. Perspective is so important, man. Having the right perspective in all things. Perspective. Yeah. Okay, look here, man. My wife and I, we can't stand each other right now. Well, are you still married? Yeah. Yes. I'm not sure if I'm so excited about that. Yeah. Well, look here. Do you have to pay child support? Exactly. Like, let's talk about the stuff you're gonna get excited about. Hello. If you in this. Hello. Are your kids still glad that y'all together? Yeah. You know. Yeah. Are the lights on? Yes. You got a roof. Is the okay? Has she taken the kids away from you? Hello. Exactly. Hello. Has she moved to a whole other state on you? Hello. With the kids. Hello. Listening to her mama instead of listening to you. Get some perspective. Get some perspective, man. Yes, sir. Some perspective, and you need that with business. Yeah. You gotta discipline yourself And I do mean discipline because it takes work. If you're not accustomed, you have some people who naturally do that.
Yeah.
But if that doesn't come naturally to you, you got to work at it and get it to the point where now it becomes an everyday thing where, hold on, perspective here.
Perspective.
Okay, number one, do you still have employees? Yes. Do you still have customers? Okay, you don't have as many as you had.
Yeah.
But do you still have customers?
Yeah.
Are the doors still open?
Yeah.
The lights still paid for?
Yeah.
Is the phone still on? Okay. Are you still in business? Yes, you are. Okay, then.
Okay.
Do you know how many businesses no longer exist?
Yeah. True.
After 6 months, no longer exist?
Yeah.
You're still here after year number what? Okay, then you have a lot of things to be grateful for.
Yeah.
Grateful, man. Grateful.
Because you still have what?
Perspective.
Yeah.
No. What was that H word? As long as you're still alive and surviving, there's always hope.
Hope. Ooh.
Yes.
Big word.
So we got perspective and hope.
There's
Perspective
always
and hope.
hope that the next day will be better. Because I'm still alive and still fighting.
Man.
Man,
I'm still alive.
Let's we're gonna wrap this one up.
Man.
But I wanna go over those. I gotta hear these core values one more time, man. They struck me, but I don't feel like the audience got a chance to absorb it as fast as I think they could at the time. It was wrapped in some really good stuff, but it was by it's in my head. It's still by itself. You understand?
Yeah.
So we were going over those core values again, man. Help me out with these.
Okay, so faith in God, family, finances, focus. Oh boy,
get that lens right.
Focus, man. Oh man. The things that can be accomplished when you know how to focus.
Oh my God.
And even when not allowing these challenges, because that's all
distractions,
they are. To distract you.
Yeah.
Because that's what they're designed to do. They're designed to distract you, to cause you to lose hope, to get you to focus on the negative. Focus, man. Focus. Boy, I pound that into my children. Focus. Focus. So, number 4, focus. Number 5, fervor. What are you passionate about?
Ooh.
What you got that fire about, man? What is it, that thing that you're good at that goes back to that, let's start there. What do you like to do? What are you good at?
Yeah.
And then that'll just take you so many other places. Wow. The possibilities. So number 5, fervor. Number 6, fitness. Yeah. Take care of the body that God gave you.
Yeah, you can't do anything.
You only get one. You only get one, man.
Stop eating
Take care of it. Be grateful for what you have.
Yeah.
Don't take it for granted.
Go to the doctor every year. Please check yourself.
Thank you.
Check up yourself. Go to the doctor.
Don't take it for granted. So number 6 was fitness, and then number 7, friendship. Yeah. Friendships are so important. They really are. Yeah. They're like any other relationship. You gotta work, especially when you got families. Yeah. You gotta make sure that you're taking care of those friendships, because friends are important, man. I'm so grateful for you, brother. We've been friends for 25 years now.
Yeah, bro.
Whoa.
Yeah, man.
25 years now. Those relationships, man, they matter.
They do.
They do.
They do, man.
Friends are so important.
You know, just before we close out, it's so important to have individuals as like-minded individuals around. Just like we were talking about earlier, that you won't be able to see visions unless somebody around you gives you perspective. Yeah. Like, Daniel talks about, about me, is him inspiring me, but his desire to do certain things, me seeing it, or seeing a person who's at the same level and then seeing them get to a higher level, said, okay, this person's right next to me. I can probably do the same thing, or at least I can try to tag along to what they have so I could get information. Because normally you're not in who you are is really defined by the circle of people that you're around, your friends. Because if you start having individuals who are at this level, you only think on that level. Yeah. You can't think outside of your level unless you start seeing outside the box. Yeah. And I was able to see outside the box because he was able to see outside the box. And then now you start to level up in your mindset. Well, if he could do it, I could do it. Mm-hmm. And if he could do it, then he could tell me how I could do it. Yeah.
And you're smarter than me.
Not all that.
Oh, man.
I don't know about all that.
Dirk is on point.
Bro,
Hold on.
I paid him to say that.
No, man.
Off camera, I'll get you. I got you. Do you wanna wrap it up, man?
Man, this has been another D&D Level Up podcast that has leveled us up in the middle of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, I'm so grateful for the opportunity
thankful,
to even
honored,
meet this young man right here.
This is my friend.
And have
thank you for the young part.
Thank
you.
He still got his hair. That's the only difference.
Hey,
look here, man. I'm fighting every day to keep that too.
Look, man.
Fighting.
You young as long as you being looked at and not being looked upon.
Oh my God.
Okay?
Yeah.
Understand?
Perspective.
I'm so happy. It's so perspective. I'm gonna run that back by y'all one more time. As long as you being able to be looked at and not looked upon, you're very young. Okay? You can get it done. Let's go back to the podcast last week, man. Let's just go back to that. We talked about other entrepreneurs that started really, really late.
Yeah.
KFC.
Yeah.
Colonel Sanders.
There you go.
Starting super late.
In his elderly years.
Okay.
Morgan Freeman. Isn't
Morgan Freeman.
Yeah, Morgan
Super late.
Samuel Jackson.
I think Samuel Jackson started really late.
Yeah.
It's like those times when you just thought, the times that most people think are not, they're not for you to try and go out and try new things. That's not what you're going to do.
Yeah.
And I have a couple people in my life that are like, man, I don't know if you should make that change right now. This is not a great time. I say, when is it a good time?
Where's it?
Tell me the window when I could jump.
Looking for that safety. Is it safe to go out?
Is it safe to go out there? Like, no, it's
Yeah.
not. So you got to do what you feel to do.
Yeah.
And what you're called to do. Sometimes sometimes things and told you to go do it, and you around here making excuses because it's a lot easier to just go around in that circle than it is to break out of those people that just don't see a future for you right now. They just don't see it, so they can't call it. So you have to call it for yourself. And we're gonna call it again for the D&D Leveling Up Podcast. And if you don't know, now you know. That's right, y'all, man. Deuces. Go check out the other podcasts. Like, comment, and subscribe right now. Let's go. You. Go like, comment, and subscribe. Yeah. All right. Peace.
Hey, man.
Brother.
Hey, man.
Brother.
I gotta hug you, brother. Appreciate you.